We're going to have Dominik Fink, who has the top 64 at the Leo Regionals, top 128 in Liverpool, top 128 in Stuttgart, and also a top 64 at the Utrecht Special Championships, trying to break through to these upper echelons. Haven't had that top 32 outlet yet, but starting 7-0-1 in this tournament, definitely something that leads you on towards getting that potentially first top 32 berth, or maybe a top 8.
It's not that often we see a player having those kind of results and not going on to better things nice and quickly. Kai Wainwright, however, is a name we have gotten familiar with over the last few years. Bremen regional finalist in 2022, couple of top 64s at Latin American Internationals, and a top 128 at Worlds in 24 in Hawaii. It is a player who is very well known around the UK scene for being a proper top-tier player, and you can see their achievements there. But still missing that regional victory. 22 finalists, brilliant, phenomenal achievement, and obviously Bremen, you know, still a German regional, if my geography is correct there.
Yes.
But maybe in Frankfurt, different German city, slightly different result. And look, if you're starting 8-0, you're putting yourself in a great position to be the favorite to win.
Yeah, and Kai, seeing that geographically we're going a bit south from Bremen, but hoping that those results, they go a bit north so we can get to finish first. And yeah, I mean, Kai's playing this very typical Dragapult Dust North, but there is something in here. This is going to be a very interesting matchup when you get to see it. Joltik box, very often going into this Joltik, charge up the Iron Hands. But Kai has a little secret trick up their sleeve with the Maractus, which typically, when Joltik wants to be playing those games, puts down Latias EX, where Kai can go, aha, I got Maractus. Boss's orders Latias and corner. What are you going to do about that?
Trap it in the active using Maractus, slow the game down so you can execute your game plan better than your opponent. Well, it does look like we are getting ready. Let's see some prizes. Pheasant Dipty coming down from Kai, and we do have a Badoo coming down there as well. And now we have to figure out there are 2 Badoo, but there's only 1 Pheasant Dipty. But well, there is a fist bump, and we are off in phase 2 of the Frankfurt Regional Championships.
And very importantly, Kai has 1 D coin flip, meaning that they get to go second. And Dominik, as a Joltik box player, I can promise you, Ross, they are never going to choose to go first voluntarily. So it means in this case, Kai winning the coin flip, getting to go second, which is what basically most of the decks in this format want to be doing. But when you're playing the Joltik toolbox deck, you want to be able to search out the Joltik, or potentially in this case, Ross, and I know you'd like to say that, you're getting Miraidon. Since Miraidon could be able to search out both Iron Hand CX and Joltik. Joltik uses the Jolting Charge attack, being able to find 2 grass energies, 2 lightning energies, and then being able to charge something like 4 energies on Iron Hands, making sure that you have your attackers set up and ready. Also, that could mean something like the Iron Leaves if Dominik potentially wants to get that out later. There's a lot of things that Dominik can do, and in this matchup, it's about going hands, hands, hands before Kai gets to set up.
It is indeed. It is a toolbox deck by name, toolbox deck by nature. We've got a lot of different attackers, including Lily's Clefairy EX, which does hit weakness onto that Dragapult. Well, first it turns its weakness into Psychic, then it hits weakness on it. That is going to be a key card in this matchup. It is in there for Dragapult and for Raging Bolt, so you better believe that is going to be something. We're not going to see it too early, because you don't need to put it down until you're going to use it. When we're ready, it's going to be a big deal.
I did start to mention about the corner Maractus. I actually think I did see that in Kai's opening hand. Corner can already be used for something like the turn 1, being able to lock this Mew in the active if the Mew does not retreat, which is why that I think if Dominik is really, really awake here and can go ahead and retreat into that Joltik. Gonna pass with the Mew in the active though, and what is really important for Kai is that this is a turn of the win route, or being able to draw some more time. Kai is looking at this game like, if I get to use Dragapult before Dominik gets to use Ampere very much with the Iron Hands, this game looks very, very good for them. And even though that Maractus can steal some time and alike, we do get to see the Itchy Pollen from Badoo, and I guess this turn from Dominik is going to be draw, retreat to Joltik, Jolting Charge, potentially a few steps in between.
Absolutely. Very quick turn from Kai there. Of course, Dragapult will see as it goes along. It's all about using that Phantom Dive. 200 to the active, drop 6 damage counters on your opponent's bench, using the Dust Noir line to drop extra damage as we go, and Badoo to slow the game down. Dominik not able to use item cards right now, so you use Arven. You can search an item and a tool. That's lovely. You can play the tool. Can't play the item right now. But of course, you're absolutely right, Jesper. What is going to happen here is just a retreat into your Joltik. That is then going to use a Jolting Charge to put 4 energy onto an Iron Hands, and then they are going to be ready to roll afterwards.
Yeah, and ready to roll indeed. And that Braver Charm being able to swoop that Iron Hands up to 280 HP. Not to forget, though, that Kai does play the Jamming Tower into, which turns that Braver Charm off. Although, it means that Kai has to hit that towards getting that easier knockout on the Iron Hands. Gonna go over to Kai now, and after this Jolting Charge, which I am pretty sure of, even though we don't have full yeah, full confirmation of it, it's going to be 4 energies to hands. I don't see anywhere else that
Not 4 to hand. Not allowed to do that. 4 to hands. And now Kai was a little bit excited there. Already started his turn before Dominic had finished that jolting charge. But we're all good. We've got the Dracloak. Oh, look at this. Maractus, you say? Saying, I don't have much respect for you, Joltik. I don't think you're going to be using any useful attack after this first one. So I am going to corner. I'm going to trap you in the active. I need time to set up my Dragapult. Maractus is going to give it to me.
And it's going to be so smart for Kai, because either Dominic has to evolve this Joltik to get into the Iron Hands. The corner says the opponent's active Pokemon cannot retreat. When you evolve, you get rid of all effects on the Pokemon, so you can get to retreat. But if you retreat into Iron Hands and take the knockout with Ampere very much, it means that the exploding needles of this Maractus is going to put Iron Hands into a knockout range from Dragapult if Jamming Tower comes into play.
Well, there is another option, because Dominic is playing one of the Galvantula. So what you could do is evolve Galvantula, make sure you've got 1 Lightning, 1 Grass on, and there's already 1 of them on there, and that will actually hit 102 Maractus. Now, it would KO the Joltik as well, which is not ideal, but it wouldn't lead to damage going on the Iron Hands. I'm not saying... wait, no, because Galvantula would survive. So no, that might be the play here. Go up into Galvantula, hit the Maractus, get the KO using that Compound Eye's ability to do the extra damage, and then use that way. Doesn't have to do that, but it's an option.
It is indeed an option, but it's one option that kind of goes against the strategy that Dominic wants to employ here. It means that they get to go on an uneven prize map.
Yes.
Dominic really, really wants to go 2, 2, and 2 with the Iron Hands. It's why Iron Hands draws prizes in 2s, and that's why the best decks that we see in the format draws their prizes in 2s or more, is what we see of Dragapult taking these 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 prize turns sometimes, when especially we get to count in the Dusknoirs. So Crispin here from Dominic, charging up Pikachu to have an alternative attacker on top of that. Searching out Metal, searching out Lightning, and this turn, it's going to be really important for Kai to see, okay, Dominic, are you going to be able to get the Iron Hands off? There's another option even. You can use something like the Iron Leaves, which has the ability to, where it can push itself into the active position. And once you've done that, it also resets the corner. But just going to go ahead and Jolting Charge and charge up the Pokemon here. And Kai has successfully bought themselves a turn.
Yeah, this seems like a really good result here for Kai. Did Jolting Charge even get any energy here?
It looked like it just got a singular lightning energy.
Onto the Mew.
Yes.
Yeah, so 1 lightning energy is really not, the whole point of Jolting Charges is phenomenal to get you 4 energy. You're playing a 30 HP Pokemon, it's going to get KO'd. You're giving up a prize, but it doesn't matter. You're getting 4 energy, and that is absolutely worth it. The good news is you did get the energy on there, but unfortunately, the second corner came down, and that means that it has gone and been KO'd. And again, Maractus sitting in the active going, come on then, go and attack me, I dare you. You will have to take 6 damage counters from my Exploding Needles ability, and... like we said last turn, you don't really want to do that with your Iron Hands, because then it's so much easier to be KO'd by Kai.
You definitely don't, but at some point you also have to do so, right? Kai has these 2 different ways of winning the game. Kai has to be open-minded into trying to win off the good old-fashioned way, right? Winning by using Dragapult EX Phantom Dive, but this corner attack is actually still very potent. If we can make Dominic play the Prime Catcher and the Latias, then if there's any weakness that comes down, then we can get to lock the game up with Maractus.
Big play here. Boss's orders onto the Dracloak, and that is bad news for Kai. Kai doesn't play any rare candy, and there are a bunch of these lists that don't, and I think that's what Dominic is betting on right now. There was a chance where Kai could have gone Dragapult, Neo Upper Energy, Jamming Tower, and actually got a KO onto the Iron Hands if it attacked into Maractus. That didn't happen. Boss's orders to cut Dracloak. Dominic takes 2 prizes. There's no damage on the Iron Hands, and there is no Dragapult coming down this turn. A huge swing from that Boss's orders.
You are right about that. And now Kai has to try and find their feet again. Getting that nice stretch for Dracloak, trying to set up the Recon Directive, but just hitting with the corner into Iron Hands is not going to do the job. You either have to start moving this Iron Hands to try and see if you can potentially tell Dominic, if you don't have X amount of cards, these certain cards like Iron Release, Prime Catcher, or evolutions for different Pokemon, which we can't evolve any of them who don't play because they're basic EXs, then we can get there. But it's a difference of, can Kai buy time or not? Can Dominic get out and use Iron Hands to take 6 prize cards? There's always going to be a Pokemon in play for Kai where Dominic can just take 2 prizes. So it's for Kai to use these Ionos and basically say, can I put the odds in my favor for Dominic not to hit any type of Gust, whether that be Prime, Catcher, or Boss's Orders?
Absolutely, because of course one thing that this Joltik Box deck does not really have is much of a draw engine on the board. Yes, I know you've got Mew that can draw until you've got 3 cards in hand, but that is not the most potent draw engine out there, and right now with 4 cards in hand, it's not doing very much at all. But this is where Kai is in a little bit of trouble, because you go away, you get the Maractus. Well, this Maractus is still going to give up 2 prizes if it's hit by the Iron Hand, so Dominic's still 2 prizes away from winning. Oh, and it's a boss onto the Dracloak again, not taking that damage from the Exploding Needles, taking out 2 Dracloak, getting 4 prizes. I love this from Dominic, and now Kai is really, really on the back foot here.
Yeah, and Kai really on the back foot. That singular energy being taken out, not to still think about, we do still have new upper energy, but getting a knockout on the Iron Hands this turn is going to be really difficult. So we all go into the spot where Kai has to say, I'm going to honor you. Please do not draw a boss's orders.
You still need time, unfortunately. That's what Kai needs here. You're not going to have a Dragapult. Well, I suppose you could actually with the Neo upper energy. The problem is, even if you get a jamming tower, which you do, you're 10 damage away from KOing the Iron Hands with your Dragapult. You really want 3 damage on there. There's only 2. That is not the maths we're looking for here. Amy did Pokémaths earlier, and I assure you, it's not working out like we want it to here. So we recon directive with the Dracloak, which I'm pretty sure that was down last turn, wasn't it? So it is eligible to evolve.
Indeed it is, Ross. And yeah, but getting that recon directive going, getting the Ultra Ball, which could be for either, in this case, it looks like it's going to be something like a Dusclops or even a Dragapult DX. But yes, as I said before, we still need that Neo upper energy A spec. And if we're not getting that, we're not attacking with Dragapult. Nope. This may even be a turn where you put down Dragapult, retreat in that into the active, or go for Blood Moon Ursaluna to get the knockout. With the Jamming Tower, we can exactly get that knockout by the Blood Moon attack. And yeah, Night Stretcher comes in, gets the attachment from Blood Moon Ursaluna, but there's still such an opening. If Dominic just hits a singular grass energy, he can just take the knockout of the Blood Moon Ursaluna.
Absolutely. Pikachu hits 300 damage. That is going to be enough to get a KO on there. Do we get it? Here we see Miraidon doing a little bit of searching. We are not there at the end of the game just yet. Topaz Bolt needs a grass energy to use. Pikachu will get it. But I can't get enough energy on the Mew right now. We are really looking for the grass energy. Here comes Arven. He's going to be searching for, it's your Earthen Vessel, for your grass energy, for your Topaz Bolt, for your final KO, and your 2 prizes to put Dominic up 1-0 with that Joltik box deck. Kai started today at 8-0, but is 1 game down here, and it is Dominic who takes the first game.
And Dominic getting closer to that 8-0-1 score. This is the battle of the undefeated, and Kai doing everything that they can. We get to see the replay of the game here. The Jolting charge, of course, getting that 4 energy to the Iron Hands. The boss's orders continuously just bullying out these Dracloaks, taking 2 prizes again, and then making sure that Kai is not going to be able to set up an attacking Dragapult at any stage. Boss's orders again around the Maractus, not playing into those exploding needles. Thank you very much. Gonna take 2 prizes. And the end of the game, Kai thinking, okay, I can get the knockout with Jamming Tower, Blood Moon Ursaluna, doing Blood Moon, exactly getting a knockout there, and Dominic responding with Arven into Earthen Vessel into game. Pretty much just taking a knockout here with Blood Moon, promotes Arven. Here comes the Vessel, gotta discard a card, and yeah, Kai sees the writing on the wall. And we're going to go into game 2.
We are going to go into game 2 here. And you saw the power of Joltik Box in that last game. Remember, they had to go first, which is not what they want to do. And one of the things I want to point out, yes, Dominic managed to get the boss's orders at the right time. That's obviously a big deal. But just cheekily setting up that Pikachu on the bench. Didn't do much, just attaching energy when you could, but just saying, I'm going to need this
Ross,
at some point.
Oh, there's double Dracloak being prized for Kai and the Maractus, which is so important in this matchup. So every single matchup piece, it seems, for Kai is being prized here. On top of, well, Dominic not having that bad prizes. 1 Joltik prized, but that's not 2 Joltiks. And yeah, Dominic going first again. But as we said last game, they won going first. It's probably possible to do it again.
Absolutely. There are 2 Pokemon prized for Dominic. We don't see the Joltik and we don't see the Miraidon. They're both in the prizes, but both of those are 2 ofs in the list, which means there is 1 more available in there. So we could well see a repeat of last game where we do see Nestball for Miraidon, Miraidon for Joltik and Iron Hands. We know how the early game goes for these Joltik decks. You are going to Jolting charge 4 energy, 2 lightning, 2 grass onto your Iron Hands, and then Amp You Very Much is going to be live from your second attacking turn, which incidentally is why you really want to go first. Remember, if Dominic was second, if Dominic was going second, turn 1 Jolting charge, you just need a basic energy at this point. But you're still set up to do it just a turn slower. I think you're going to be okay.
But still on Kai's side, staring down this Iron Hands that is going to come into full fruition. Dominic being really smart here, staring down at Badu with that Ichipon, being like, yo, I'm just going to go ahead and play my Pokegear so I can make sure I have a supporter card potentially into my next hand. And grabbing a boss's orders already, that's a few turns down the line with those Dracloaks start getting to play. And we have to stress, Ross, with Night Stretcher, a double Dracloak being the prizes for Kai, it's going to be such a difficult game to get these Dracloaks set up in multiples.
And do bear in mind, Kai does not play Rare Candy. One of the ways to mitigate Dracloak being prized would be to get a Rare Candy Dragapult out. That is not going to be an option with the deck list we've got. We pass over to Kai here. Now, the good news is that first game was only 15 minutes. And Kai, especially on that first turn, we didn't see that first turn big long search like we normally see. Here's a Hilda, though. We don't love turn 1 Hilda, do we?
We absolutely hate turn 1 Hilda, Ross. That doesn't get us into any of these Buddy Puffins that we want to get for our Dream Piece. And if Kai had sat on Buddy Puffin, they would have played that first. So it looks like a terrible opener for Kai. We're looking at the Henderson Ultra Ball at the very least so we can get a Pokemon. But yeah, it already looks very much like the ball is 100% in Dominic's court.
And it's worth noting, Hilda does not get a basic Pokemon. Hilda only searches an evolution Pokemon. If you're wondering why you would go for a Dragapult rather than a Dreepy, you can't go for a Dreepy. You can Ultra Ball for one Dreepy, and you do know that you at least have a turn. Dominic is not KOing Dreepy on your next turn. They are going to Jolting Charge. You have one more turn to get your board sorted out, or things are going to go very badly.
One thing I'm definitely not liking here is that, yes, that Dreepy is going to be allowed to turn into Dracloak, Wizard Dracloak in Kai's hand, but as we already know, there's Boss's Orders in Dominic's hand. There's going to be a Jolting Charge to that Iron Hands. Whatever happens, Kai has to top deck something like Iono or Research to get going. Otherwise, that Dreepy with the energy on the bench right there is going to be falling down to an Iron Hands that's going to come after it, and there's no way to escape that if a Boss's Orders comes up.
I'm getting deja vu here because once again we are under item lock, but we're still using Arven, so we can grab the Bravery Charm, so we can pop it onto the Iron Hand. So when we get the energy on, there is that little bit of extra protection. And here is a downside with playing no rare candy in your Dragapult list. If you've only got one Dreepy now, you can only have one Dracloak next turn, which means if it gets taken out, you can bench another Dreepy, but the following turn you can only have a Dracloak. This is what Dominic took advantage of last game, and if we see another 2 Boss's Orders like we did in game 1, I think we might see a similar result. For now, Jolting Charge, and Kai kind of needs to Iono because they know Dominic's got a Boss's Orders, but he also need a lot more.
We're going to see a Recon Directive only getting into Luminous Energy and Buddy Puffin. Buddy Puffin's going to help being able to set up, but with Dominic throwing 4 energies onto the Iron Hands, Kai presumably taking the Buddy Puffin off the Recon Directive here, we're just going to be seeing Boss's Orders, and this Iron Hands here, with all the energies, is just going to go target away onto the Cloak, and there's absolutely nothing Kai can do in that stage.
Unless they play an Iono. That is the only way to avoid the guaranteed KO. And like I say, you can bench a Dreepy now, but you're not going to get a Dragapult next turn. It's not going to happen. So it's an awkward situation to be sure. It looks like we're going to Itchy Pollen after attaching an energy. And it looks like the energy is going to go on the Duskull, or is it going to go on the... It's not going to go on the Duskull. Where's the energy going to go, Jesper?
It is a good question. You can be like hoping that Dominic doesn't have a boss, although that is public information since that Pokegear was played.
He knows Dominic's got a boss.
Yeah, exactly. So you need to find somewhere good to attach the energy. If you attach on Duskull, you're going to try to attack with something like Dusknoir later. Even though it's a cool attack, 150 and retreat lock, it's not going to do good for you here. Kai is just sitting in such a spot, and yeah, I am really happy I'm not Kai here.
Kai does certainly seem to be on the back foot. Now, it looks like we got a Pheasantipity down. That is going to really help to, get Kai established after this first KO comes down. Drawing an extra free cards is going to be a massive advantage. Still agonizing over where to put this fire energy. It goes on to Duskull. We see an Itchy Pollen coming down onto Joltik. The problem is that Badoo is going to give up 2 prizes. Oh, no, wait, no, it's not. We know Dominic's got a Boss's Orders. So here we see the retreat of the Joltik. Get ready to see the Boss's Orders. It is going to bring up that Dracloak with the energy on, and that is going to be the first 2 prizes for Dominic. There we go. Absolutely no surprises here. Ampu very much. 2 prizes off a Dracloak, up 2 prizes to 0, and with a much better board established. And oh, do you see what Dominic's kind of cheekily doing on the bench while he's doing all the Ampu very much?
What's he doing, Ross?
He's getting that Pikachu ready. We saw this last game. I am getting proper deja vu here. It worked so well for Dominic in game 1. He's going, I'm just going to do that again. That seemed to work.
I mean, if something succeeded, why not just do it twice? Absolutely. If you win twice, you win the set.
Yeah, you do.
So we get to see Kai putting down more. But the issue for Kai here is that they're only going to be able to get maximum Wonder Cloak in play. And me amongst my friends kind of joke about Joltik box. It's like kind of you go Jolting Charge, you get hands going, and then it turns into Boss's Orders Simulator. If you can get Boss's Orders enough, you win the game. And Ross, did we spot any boss? There is one there.
There is Boss's Orders in hand, just like there was back in game 1. We absolutely do have a Boss's Orders in hand. So I don't like to say it, and I'm sorry, Kai. There is bad news coming down the pipeline. You've only got Wonder Cloak. It is going to be Boss's Orders and KO'd, and Pikachu is going to be getting ready to finish off the game the following turn. And genuinely at this stage, Kai is using Itchy Pollen, and it is crossing fingers time. You are going, look, I Iono'd them to 4 cards. They had better not have a Boss's Orders from those 4 and their draw for the turn. They've actually got Prime Catcher as well, so they can boss this turn, Prime Catcher next turn, and, well, you can't Prime Catcher this turn, obviously, because of Badoo. I mean, the Prime Catcher is ready for next turn for Pikachu, who just got a second energy. Dominic is fixing to win this game next turn.
Yeah, and setting up this cool checkmate scenario where we're just telling Kai, whatever you're going to be able to do, yeah, mate, just forget about it. That's not going to happen. We're going to see the knockout here. Ampu very much taking 2 prizes, getting that Marite on an Ultra Ball into hand. Not something that's super useful, but it is useful to get closer to that 8-0-1 record.
And there will be no itchy pollen. You cannot itchy pollen, because if you itchy pollen, then Dominic goes, okay, amp you very much for game. Which means Dominic is going to have that, you know, the ability to play item cards. So if Kai has got an INO, and it looks like they do, has to be played. Yeah, they've got one in hand. They have to play it this turn. We know that Dominic has got that prime catcher. Kai doesn't, to be fair, but you still kind of need to put them on a 2-card hand.
It just feels bad to be in Kai's shoes right now, right? You can get the knockout with Blood Moon or Saluna due to that jamming tower being down and just getting an attachment on. But Kai's constantly been missing these small pieces turn after turn after turn. Kai is going to be able to use Dusclops, put 50 onto the Iron Hands, or potentially the Pikachu, of course, to get into the spot of using Iono 2-1. Mew still down on Dominic's side, but Kai's giving themselves a way to fight and turning off this Resolute Heart by using that Dusclops.
Now, you're going to need a lightning and a metal energy for Pikachu. That's what we're really looking for here. Oh my goodness, his one card he's got in hand is a metal energy. That is genuinely his hand is a metal energy, which means if we see the KO, well, no, it doesn't matter what comes up. Everything is in range of Pikachu, and Dominic got Iono to one card in hand, and it is, and I mean this in the most literal sense of the word, the only card he needs.
And we're just going to see promotion of Pikachu, draw a card for turn as if a formality, and attaching the metal energy. Dominic Fink 2-0 in round number 9 versus Kai Brain by going off to the 8-0-1 record. And yeah, on for phase 2 tomorrow. Well, we already in phase 2 now, buddies. And Dominic being such a force with that Joltik box deck.
Can you imagine the relief when your opponent Ionos you to 1 and you get the only card you need? Here we go back to have a reminder of game 1. The boss's orders onto the Dracloak. KO with Iron Hand. Amp you very much. I will take those 2 prizes. And then Dominic goes, you know what? That was really fun. Amp you very much on a Dracloak for 2 prizes with a boss's orders. I'm going to do it again and take another 2 prizes, putting me